There's a place in Europe that doesn't look like Europe. Cliffs drop straight into the ocean. Clouds hang low over the peaks. Green covers almost everything. At first glance, it feels like somewhere else. Hawaii. And that's why. Madeira is often called the Hawaii of Europe. Madeira looks like a garden island, but its real system is dangerous and vertical. Mountains catch water, cliffs block roads, ravines tear to sea, and isolated farms depend on channels cut through danger. At the eastern end, Ponta de São Lourenço runs 9 kilometers into open Atlantic water, dry and exposed from the first frame. Not the green Madeira most people expect: rock, grass, wind, sea, and little room for mistakes. Fresh water is scarce on these slopes, keeping the land open and thinly settled, closer to reserve than farmland. The island is only about 57 kilometers long, yet rises to 1,862 meters at Pico Ruivo. Trade winds hit with little shelter, exposing red, brown, and black volcanic layers under low vegetation. The island shows its hard foundation early. From this edge, Madeira looks less like a beach island than the exposed summit of an Atlantic volcano. The ocean surrounds the path on both sides, turning every ridge into a balcony over deep water. Narrow trails, broken cliffs, and dry ground show how compact Madeira can still feel severe. The eastern point explains contrast before the journey turns inland. Bare rock here, cloud forest, only a short climb away. Wind writes itself across the peninsula in low plants, empty slopes, and a long, unprotected horizon. The camera can sit here because the geography is doing the work. No hotels, no palms, just the dry eastern spine showing how exposed Madeira really begins. This first landscape strips away the postcard idea of Madeira and leaves the island's tougher shape exposed. Here, water is mostly seen as ocean, not river or spring, and that absence changes everything on land. In less than an hour, Madeira can change from dry cliffs to cloud forest, from farm roads to mountain fog. Volcanic reds and browns stand against the blue Atlantic, making the island's origin visible before the mountains appear. Human life can pass through this peninsula, but the place still belongs first to weather and rock. Roads, footpaths, and visitors only skim the surface. The shape underneath is volcanic, wind-cut, and too dry to behave like the garden island people imagine. The route ahead crosses a small island, yet the changes ahead feel far larger than the map suggests. On this edge, the Atlantic is not background. It is the force cutting cliffs, drying slopes, and leaving little protection. The reserve protects a place where thin soil, low plants, and nesting seabirds depend on limited disturbance. Before the high peaks appear, São Lourenço shows Madeira at its most open: dry ground, hard light, and constant wind. Some views need few words: bare slopes, moving air, and the sea pressing against both sides of the trail. The peninsula matters because it shows the island without its water systems: fewer trees, fewer fields, and almost no shelter. The same volcanic rock that looks dry here will soon rise high enough to catch cloud and feed ravines. Starting here makes the later green sharper. Madeira is abundant only where height, cloud, and water allow it. Roads, houses, fields, and harbors come later. First comes the Atlantic frame and the exposed volcanic edge. The last wide look at São Lourenço gives ocean on both sides and the main island climbing ahead. From here, the journey turns inward, away from dry wind, and toward Madeira's mountain core. As the land rises, the island stops feeling horizontal. Roads begin to climb, bend, and tunnel through harder country. The exposed edge has shown what ocean weather can remove: soil, shelter, and easy settlement. Now the central ridge shows what height can create: cloud, runoff, forest, and danger. Madeira is only about 57 kilometers long, but Pico Ruivo rises to 1,862 meters, high enough to split the island into different climates and different ways of living. On television, that means one island can show bare eastern slopes, dripping forest, high tunnels, and fog-bound roads in the same journey. The road leads toward colder air and peaks where weather can change faster than the map prepares you for: closing views, wetting stone, and slowing every mountain turn. Everything ahead begins with that climb from sea edge into cloud, where the island stops feeling coastal and starts controlling movement by height. The climb into Madeira's highest peaks changes the scale, the ocean drops away, and the island becomes a mountain system. Pico do Arriero reaches 1,818 meters, high enough for the road and viewpoint to stand above moving cloud. Across the massif, Pico Ruivo rises higher still to 1,862 meters, the roof of Madeira. Between these heights, clouds are practical. They feed streams, forest moisture, and the water channels below, turning fog into drinking water and farm supply. Cloud builds, breaks, and slides through the ridges, changing visibility in minutes. Up here, a clear path can turn into a slow, careful crossing before travelers reach the next bend, and that delay matters when the only safe line is narrow. The radar dome on Pico do Arriero marks how exposed and strategic this summit position is. Road access makes the height seem easy at first, but the surrounding ridges are steep, thin, and unforgiving. The peaks divide Madeira into rainy north slopes and a drier, sunnier south. That split shapes where roads climb, where farms can hold, and where towns depend on water from above. This height is the island's weather machine. Moist Atlantic air is forced upward, cools, and feeds the rain and mist that later make the green Madeira possible below. The payoff is practical, not poetic. Water gathered on high ground can end up feeding terraces, gardens, and towns that would struggle if they waited only for local rain. That is why Madeira's beauty depends on capture, storage, and careful movement downhill. Paths between the peaks cross knife-edge ridges where distance feels larger than the map. A short route can demand steps, railings, patience, and the nerve to keep moving while the slope falls away on both sides. Pico Ruivo may be close in island terms, but the terrain makes every approach feel earned, with narrow paths, sudden drops, and weather changing the climb. From above the clouds, Madeira's compact size becomes misleading. A short distance can mean a hard climb or a slow road. The central ridge divides climate. Wetter Atlantic air on one side, brighter, drier slopes on the other. With villages living different days. Let this summit breathe for a moment. The moving light is not decoration. It shows how quickly visibility changes for anyone walking, driving, or working near the ridge. The natural park protects this high interior. These summits explain why rivers fall so sharply toward the sea and why ravines cut so deep. The road bends through altitude, but beyond the asphalt, the land drops quickly into shadowed valleys. Madeira travel is built around avoiding those drops. A closed bend, fallen rock, or fogged-in stretch can turn a short transfer into a long detour. This is the island compressed, ocean below, peaks above, and weather moving through the gap between them. At this height, the island is not a resort backdrop. It is a working volcanic structure with a ridge road edging past open drops before disappearing into fog. The ridges reveal the shield volcano's exposed summit, lifted out of the Atlantic and worn by rain. The camera can hold on bare rock, cut paths, and cloud shadows, letting the height explain why movement stays cautious. Cloud shadows cross the slopes like tides, changing color, depth, and distance while the camera simply breathes. The important point is what that chain makes possible. Levadas carry mountain rain toward farms, gardens, and village taps. Without the channels, a sunny terrace can dry out while crops wait. A farmer below depends on maintenance crews above, because one blocked section can cut irrigation long before the field itself looks threatened. Crews clear leaves, check narrow channels, and stop water being lost before farms notice. Bananas, vineyards, and small household plots all rely on that uphill work staying open. The high roads help people cross the interior, but they do not remove the risk. Workers, delivery drivers, and hikers still lose time to fog, wind, and steep drops. A closed bend after rockfall can lengthen a route by ravines, and winter weather can delay the obvious crossing for hours. Here, distance is measured in safe crossings, not only miles. That is the human cost of the scenery. A normal errand can become a mountain decision. On clear breaks, the north and south coasts seem close, yet the ridge between them changes the weather, the crops, and the time it takes to reach either side. The peaks gather moisture from the Atlantic and send it down through a maze of valleys. Where the rock opens, the island shows layers of basalt built by eruptions and cut by erosion, the hard frame beneath roads, terraces, and tunnels. The mountain path reminds you that Madeira's small footprint hides difficult access inside. A short line on a map can mean stairs, tunnels, wet stone, and a careful return before weather shifts. At height, air cools quickly and visibility can change in minutes, turning a clear trail into cloud. The Central Massif is not just a viewpoint. It is where access, weather, and water supply begin to meet. Fog can erase the horizon completely, leaving only nearby rock and the sound of wind. For viewers, the blank white frame is useful breathing room. It shows why locals respect timing and visibility. Then the cloud parts, and the island returns as a chain of ridges dropping toward the Atlantic. This shot earns a slower line because it resets the scale. Every valley below is connected to these high shoulders. Water starts above the towns. Mountain rain feeds farms and villages below. Levadas and terraces begin with captured mountain moisture. Even the greener parts of Madeira are not gentle. They are fed by steep slopes and hard-won water. The peaks hold the island's drama in practical form: access, risk, weather, and scale. From here, the route can leave open summit air and enter a forest that survives by catching cloud. The shift matters because Madeira's interior is not one landscape. It moves from dry exposure to wet shelter within a short climb. The last high views keep the sea in sight, but the next world is older, wetter, and more enclosed. Altitude turns a short crossing into cliffs, saddles, and sudden weather. Roads and trails must follow the mountain, not the map. A direct line may be impossible here. Paths bend around ravines, skirt rock walls, or wait for a safer ridge. Movement through Madeira often feels slower than distance suggests. The island is small, but its slopes are not. High ground collects weather first, then sends water down through streams and fog-fed slopes. In heavy rain, those same ravines can turn from scenery into hazards, carrying force toward roads, villages, and fields below. The mountain is source and threat at once, so every bridge, culvert, and retaining wall becomes part of daily safety. That water decides where gardens survive, which terraces can be planted, and which valleys stay usable. North-facing slopes receive the wetter Atlantic mood, while the south-facing coast often lives in brighter, drier light. Villages, crops, and roads follow that split, adapting to exposure as much as to elevation. Levadas carry mountain water across steep ground toward farms and towns below. The climb shows another bargain. Every viewpoint depends on access cut into difficult terrain, from roads to paths to tunnels. Cliffs set the terms. The high interior explains the work required to live below it. Farms need water, towns need passable roads, and every solution has to fit the slope before it can serve people. Old routes, footpaths, and tunnels still reveal how hard, simple movement can be here. The ridges decide where land dries, where it soaks, and where people can safely pass. On the highest ground, Atlantic weather and volcanic stone meet without much shelter between them. This PR1 ridge links Arriero, Torres, and Ruivo with steps and cables cut into exposed basalt. Fast changes here decide whether a route feels open or dangerous. Each saddle reveals another drop, another cloud bank, and another reason straight travel is rare here. The pause matters because the viewer can read the landscape. A road cut into rock, a path crossing a narrow shoulder, cloud hiding the next turn. There is no need to rush past it. The shot explains why a village, a field, or a trailhead may be close on the map but separated by steep air. Switchbacks, tunnels, and ridge paths are not choices. They are survival geometry. The peaks are the last open threshold before the route enters moisture held close to the ground. From exposed ridges, the journey moves toward forest that survives by catching fog. Fanol feels like a discovery because the forest closes around the road so suddenly. Old trunks, wet grass, and moving fog. This is Laurisilva, the ancient laurel forest that once covered much more of the Atlantic islands. Laurisilva preserves Madeira's rare, ancient cloud forest. The trees do more than look mysterious. Their leaves and moss hold cloud moisture and slow water moving downhill. At about 1,150 meters on Paul de Serra, fog becomes part of the forest's plumbing. Fog turns the forest into a water collector, feeding the island quietly before streams become visible. The mood is calm, but the function is serious. This forest helps store moisture in a steep volcanic island. Walking here feels like entering an older Madeira, one less shaped by roads and terraces. Twisted branches, grazing clearings, and low cloud make the forest feel found rather than staged. Fanal is not just a scenic pause, it is part of the island's water memory. Fog is active here, feeding trunks, roots, moss, and the slow, damp air of the plateau. After the summit ridges, the forest lowers the pace without losing the geography. Gnarled laurel trees show what protection, altitude, and humidity can preserve when mist stays long enough to feed trunks, moss, and soil. The wet side of Madeira becomes easier to feel in this still, cloud-held place. The clouds seen over the peaks are now close enough to touch the branches. Silence fits Fanal because the forest works slowly, holding water rather than displaying force. Moss and fog show how water shapes land even when no river is visible. Fanal also prepares the darker turn ahead, where stored moisture becomes moving water and beauty begins to carry weight downstream into ravines. From the plateau, rain drains into steep valleys and gathers speed toward the north coast. The island's ancient, calm, and dangerous ravines are tied to the same wet climate. Water leaves the forest quietly, then cuts hard into basalt below. That is the transition from cloud-catching woodland to carved island drainage. What looks soft in the trees can become force once it drops through ravines and rock channels. The same volcanic slopes that feed moss above also funnel runoff into narrow, fast routes below. The route now leaves old laurel trees for a place where rain, rock, and road collide. That next place is Ribeira do Inferno, Hell's River. Ribeira do Inferno means Hell's River, a north coast gorge where the name feels earned. The ravine lies between São Vicente and Porto Moniz, cut into basalt walls more than 100 meters high. The old ER 101 crossed this ground with bridges and tunnels built between 1947 and 1959. A major landslide closed the road to vehicles in 2015. The mountain took back the route. What remains is a walking approach where broken pavement, warning signs, and cliff walls make the closure visible. After the gorge, Porto Moniz opens the view but keeps the Atlantic force close. On the northwest coast, natural lava pools sit beside water that is never fully tame. The pools are calm because volcanic rock breaks the surf and holds seawater at the edge. Just beyond the walls, waves still strike with the power that shaped this coast. Safety and danger are separated here by only a few feet of black lava. Porto Moniz carries an older working coast with fishing and whaling in its past. Tourism changed how people use the pools, but not the ocean around them. The island's bargain is clear here. Use the edge, but never forget its force. People step into water shaped by lava, while the Atlantic keeps moving outside. After the gorge, the pools bring release, not escape. The north remains wet, steep, and exposed, even in its most inviting places. That climate-shaped roads, pools, and the houses people built farther along the coast, salt spray, winter surf, and wet stone explain why edges here are managed, not just admired. From Porto Moniz, the route moves east along Madeira's northern cultural edge, where sea exposure gives way to villages shaped by rain and slope. The next stop looks bright and folkloric, but its design begins with rain. In Santana, the house itself becomes a weather solution, with steep thatch shedding rain and compact walls holding family life against damp wind. Santana's triangular houses are symbols, but began practically. This is the cooler, wetter north of Madeira, close to the Laurisilva region. The steep thatched roof sheds heavy rain quickly. Traditional palheros have roots reaching back to the 16th century. The lower level could shelter livestock, while the family lived above. That arrangement saved space and added warmth in a damp agricultural setting. The bright preserved houses began as responses to climate, labor, and limited ground. Their color is memorable, but the shape is the deeper story. The houses translate wet weather into a simple, durable form. Moisture, insulation, animals, and family life met under one steep roof. On the south side, human life appears in terraces, houses, and fields placed wherever slope allows. The Poyos hold soil on ground that would otherwise slide quickly toward ravines or the sea, keeping crops rooted where flat land barely exists. Levadas make small plots possible. Bananas fit sheltered, sunny slopes. Farms stay small because land is steep. Every flat strip is made or protected. Roads decide daily life here. A nearby village may sit close by air, but far by ravine and bend. For residents, that means errands, school runs, deliveries, and emergency access all depend on the road holding its line. Above Ponta do Sol, houses and crops occupy ledges between cliffs, roads, and drainage lines. This is not postcard farming. It is soil held by walls and water delivered by channels. Every small plot depends on a terrace face below and a clean flow arriving from above. People live above drops, below roads, and beside fields narrow enough to show how tight the land is. The south coast looks sunnier, but the work remains vertical. Climb, irrigate, repair, repeat. Even gentle-looking villages sit on stacked paths where baskets, hoses, and tools move uphill by hand. Banana leaves soften the scene, yet behind them are terraces built to stop gravity taking the field away. The broad leaves hide walls, drains, and narrow access lanes that keep harvests reachable. Ponta do Sol shows Madeira's human pattern clearly: settlement where light, access, and water meet. Ravines and cliffs still set the limits. They decide where roads can turn and where houses can stand. The cultivated island is not separate from the wild one. It is built directly on top of it. Ponta do Sol brings the route into the warm south coast settlement belt, where ravines open just enough for towns to touch the sea. Ravine, road, and coast meet here. This area is known for the highest number of sunshine hours on the island, helping explain why the south coast became so cultivated. Early settlement and a town charter around 1480 connect Ponta do Sol to Madeira's first colonial economy, where sugar needed sun, water, labor, and coastal landing points close together early. Sugarcane history, terraces, and water channels show how the sunny coast was made productive instead of merely scenic. The value of the South is not just warm light. It is shelter, access, and slopes that people learn to work. Today, even the digital nomad village belongs to people choosing the south-facing edge and adapting to a steep coastline. The modern story changes the jobs, but not the geography. Settlement still gathers where sun, road access, and coastal shelter overlap. After the interior and farms, Ponta do Sol gives the journey a warmer coastal reset. The fields now lead the eye toward boats, landing places, stone streets, and the island's working shoreline. Câmara de Lobos slows the journey at a natural bay about 9 kilometers west of Funchal, close to the capital to be connected, but distinct in identity. The harbor works because the cove gathers boats into shelter while homes and terraced slopes rise immediately behind it. Fishing is not background decoration here. It is the reason the town formed around the water. Small boats sit at the working edge. The slope presses houses close, and the protected bay turns a narrow coastline into a place where families could live, land fish, repair gear, and watch weather change. The village is squeezed, but it is also protected by the shape of the cove. The name means Chamber of Sea Wolves, recalling the monk seal sailors found along this coast. It is one of Madeira's early settlement places, where a usable shoreline mattered because so much of the island falls too sharply into the Atlantic. 9 kilometers west of Funchal, the bay gave fishing boats a rare working pocket beneath steep volcanic slopes. Bananas and grapes climb the slopes around the bay, linking harbor life to Poyos, Madeira wine, and the same irrigation logic seen inland. Boats work at sea level while crops rise above them, because water, sun, and shelter meet in a narrow vertical stack. Imagine the split screen, boats below, irrigation walls above, and crops depending on unseen channels. The long shot can linger because it connects two economies at once: fishing below, cultivation above, and a drainage system that makes steep land productive instead of wasted. Churchill painted Câmara de Lobos in 1950, but he arrived after generations of labor: boats, nets, whetstone, repair sheds, and steep streets pressed against the bay. The contrast is sharper than a postcard: famous canvas above, working hands below, and a village history built before visitors came looking for charm. Its beauty rests on routine: launching, mending, carrying, selling, and returning to the same harbor again. Camara de Lobos is also tied to black scabbardfish, a deep-water catch that shows how local labor reached beyond the calm surface of the bay. The name belongs beside ropes, small boats, and the long habit of leaving harbor before the light fully rises. The stronger image is the scale contrast, a human harbor tucked below terraced hills, with Cabo Girón rising nearby so high it visually dominates the town before the final cliff. This long approach is useful because the viewer moves from boats and rooftops to a wall of rock, feeling village scale give way to cliff scale before the camera reaches the edge. The last chapter needs that build because the cliff is not isolated, it grows out of the same coastal system. Cabo Girón rises about 580 meters above the sea, one of the highest sea cliffs in Europe. It is not only a viewpoint, it is a wall above working land. From the skywalk, the coast drops almost straight down to narrow fields and fajans below. The view is wide, but the usable ground is painfully small. Those lower ledges show the human scale of the cliff, small plots held between rock wall and ocean. Fields here had to be worked where flat land barely exists. Access here is never casual. Some places below have depended on steep paths, cable routes, or the sea, so a field can become a daily logistics problem. Below the viewpoint, the human image is smaller and sharper, someone tending a strip of ground, carrying tools, or moving carefully where the cliff leaves almost no margin. The cliff amazes visitors vertically. Below, that same wall limits land, routes, and daily work. Every meter is earned. So, Madeira's final lesson is not that beauty hides hardship. It is that the island's most beautiful views are also maps of how people learn to live with almost no flat ground.